In the Middle Ages, a self-heal was a wound herb applied to cuts and wounds to stop bleeding. And the name was used for quite a number of species that were used for this purpose. But over time, the name has come to be confined to this one species, our familiar self-heal, which is a plant of semi-natural, natural grassland, seldom grows more than 20 centimetres high. In fact, the handiest place, the easiest place to see it is probably on your lawn. But there it's going to be just a fraction of the 20 centimetres because it has to adapt itself to the cutting height of your lawnmower. So self-heal is a member of the mint family, and the flowers are quite typical of the family. You have an advanced zygomorphic flower, in other words bilaterally symmetrical, with a two-lipped corolla, upper and the lower lip there. It has the usual 4 stamens, 2 long ones, 2 short ones, bifid stigma between them, in the upper lip, under the hood of the flower, as you can see there. One of the most unusual and interesting features of self-heal is the stamens. You can see that the filaments of the stamens are branched, they're forked, and the anther is poised at the tip of one of the branches, the inner branch, whereas the outer branch is like a peg braced against the inside of the hood. So the 4 pegs between them are firmly holding the anthers in the best position to effect cross-pollination. The bifid stigma is in between them, behind them, slightly forward, out of reach of its own pollen, and in the very best position to strike the head of a visiting bee before it comes in contact with the stamens. Nectar is secreted at the top of the ovary, and the flowers are visited by a wide variety of bees for the nectar. Other insects are unwelcome, and if you look at this pair of overlapping stalkless leaves at the base of the pagoda-like flower head, you see the little bristles along the edges. They act like the guard above the hilt of a sword, forming a sort of protective disc to keep unwelcome insects from crawling up into the flowers. The sepals are a particularly interesting feature. When the plant is in flower, you can see that they form a protective little chalice enclosing the corolla. But once fertilization has been effected, the sepals flatten to form a little purse, protecting the 4 developing nutlets inside. And when these are ripe, it will open up again to allow the seeds to escape. In fact, if you look into the calyx at a later stage, it's like looking into a little bird's nest with 4 eggs at the bottom of the nest. Self-heal was one of the most highly valued of all wound herbs, but it also had a great reputation for the treatment of sore throat, and particularly for the form of sore throat known as quinsy, which is an inflammation close to the tonsils that often causes an abscess. In fact, the Latin name for the plant given to it in the 17th century by Linnaeus is prunella, which is derived from the German word for quinsy, die Braune.